Hey y'all, it's Billy and my homestead honey from Perma Pastures farm. Yeah. Okay.
Boy.
Oh, yeah, let's not forget the greatest Pyrenees right here, right? Okay, so if you watched the first video, and if you haven't, go back and check it out. It's not just for people that are just getting into chickens. You're gonna probably learn some tricks, even if you're an old pro at this, that might help. So just absorb what you think is useful. Okay, what we did, just a brief synopsis, is basically we got the chicks outside, got them in their little mobile chicken tractor, and then we tripled up the fence, okay? So they've been out here, I'd guess, I don't know, maybe a week, maybe a little less than that, but they're growing. These guys grow, and I'll tell you what, I mean, having spent a little more time with them, I'm gonna say this right off. They're the smartest birds I think I've ever worked with. I mean, they, by and large, have figured out how to get in there by themselves. I've never gone through that, and I've raised as many types of birds you can think of. I've never seen some that just automatically know that that's where they go in at night. So that's one good thing. Another awesome thing, they're super friendly, and they seem to grow really quick, too. But now, as you can see this fence, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it kind of moved behind me. Problem is, this here charger, and I talked about it in the first video, I'm not real crazy about it, okay? We've had like 3 days of not so shiny weather. And even when, excuse me, we've had some weather that wasn't all that great for the last several days. Well, it's a solar charger. And frankly, it doesn't even keep a charge that long, even on a good day. I've never been really crazy about it, but it's a good way to get you through something. Okay, we're gonna combine a few things in here. What we're gonna do in a nutshell, we're gonna expand their area of operation. They're wiping out the grass. They're doing exactly what birds ought to do. We're also going to show you option B instead of using this. This goes right back to the preparedness mindset. 2 is 1 and 1 is none. All right, with that said, we're gonna go ahead and open up the fence a little bit and give them a little more area. You're gonna see a bunch of birds knocked out with one stone. All right, so all we did on the fence is just expand it maybe another 5 feet, maybe 6, this way. Now what we're gonna do, remember, we just gave them a little more room. Now what we're gonna do is pull this chicken tractor up because it'll distribute their manure load as they grow. All right, so we basically moved this tractor, okay? And Michelle just dropped out a little bit of comfrey. They're into the point now where they're not just eating their store-bought crumbles, their chick feed. They're now, if you watch them, they are definitely going nuts on the grass. In fact, even more so than I've ever seen with other birds, so I couldn't be more pleased about that. When you move this tractor, you want to make sure they're still in it, okay? That's kind of important because I don't care if you, even when they're a little bit older and they know their way in and out, if you move that tractor after they're already out, they will not find their way back in. I can almost guarantee you that until they become older. Now, when you're adult chickens, like the ones in the chicken tractor on steroids, we can move it all over and they'll find their way back in, especially in a small flock. But when they're this small, I promise you, tonight we will be physically putting them back in. So you want to be sure of that. Now, the fence is bigger, and instead of being 3 fences, we now have 2 on certain sides of this. So, like most chickens and like every other animal, that when they hit a new area, they are ecstatic. They're gonna love it, but they're still adjusting to everything, so that's cool. Now, we talked a moment ago about the charger, how I wasn't crazy about it, but we're also gonna talk about why 2 is 1 and 1 is none. I'm just gonna kind of mosey over here and let you look at the bees, okay? Now, that's a hot fence all the way, it's a bare fence essentially around those bees over there. So instead of doing what I've been doing, using that charger, remember, you want redundancy to everything, your water systems, your food systems, everything. When I say redundancy, as many as you can possibly get. In this case, that charger ain't working out the way I like. I also have a DC charger that charges the fence that you see on that side of the property. So that's one, it's not the proper use of the term, but we'll call it a separately derived system. It's all running on DC. This one over here surrounding the bees, we'll call it another separately derived system. And it's running on AC. Then we had this one also running on that solar charger, which is essentially DC. So all we're gonna do is make the transition because I don't like the charge I'm getting on that, and these birds are not yet fully respecting the fence. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take this and we're going to tether it in just like that system I showed you before. The tethering system we came up with and invented a long time ago. Others are doing it with great success, and I'm finding out others are doing it just, figuring it out on their own. So with that said, it's time to go ahead and we'll roll out some of this used up wire that we had from before, get these guys hot on that. All right, y'all, so what you see right here, this is just some old, now it's not at all meant to be used in the application I'm doing it, but this is what I got plenty of. And I got news for you, y'all. As you probably know, copper ain't cheap. So this old spent wire, it's not completely spent. We were using it on the guinea hogs when we had it up the hill. So when we no longer had them there, we rolled it up and saved it. And then we use it for occasions like this. Now, the insulation on this wire is only good or rated for 600 volts. This is going to have considerably more in it. And it's also going to be hitting the sun, so it ain't going to last forever, but I don't care about that. Right now, it solves the problem. So here it is. We have it on the end of this fence. A little side note, I always try to paint my corners red on my fences. So even if I have a bunch of them strung together, I know where the endings are. But if I didn't have this here, I have in the past, and I've shown you before, wrapped it right on around that top strand like so. But because I have the end of the fence here, I'm just going to go ahead and use the factory. It would do the same exact thing. So I'm just going to kind of tighten this up a little bit, pull this around, and there we go. So we'll just go ahead and string it out and go ahead, cut it off on this end and get them hot to the bees.
Sweet puppy.
All right, think about all the things that just happened right now. Okay, we got them on a different power source. It took 30 seconds to get it done, really. We expanded their area of operation, and if we go up here a little bit, you can see them already doing what they got to do. But now here's the beautiful part of this, is at this point, they went from basically having about 1,000 volts, where they kind of could feel it a little bit, to now they're going to be on about 8,000 volts. So it ain't going to take long for them to really respect this fence. And in a backdoor way, we kind of, ease them into it. I would have preferred to stay with the solar, but hey, that's why you have redundancy. Like I said, the one on the side, one on that side, they're ready to rock and roll. So what's going to happen at this point? Well, tonight we'll have to go ahead and, physically put them back in. And then when they come out of there in the morning, they're going to say, okay, yeah, this is where I go in at night. And so they're being trained for that. Remember, if you haven't seen it already, go back and watch that video where I show you the easiest way on earth to put your chickens back into that tractor, okay? It's something, even if you're an old hand at this, it's probably something you've never seen before. So that works out great. Okay, so these guys are ready to rock and roll. We can leave them alone. We can walk away. We can do whatever we got to do. Remember, if you need bone sauce, comfrey, consultations, chicken processing video, check that stuff out down below. EMP shield, which can't think of a better time with what's going on in this world right now. But yeah, y'all, hopefully this video was a blessing. This is Billy on behalf of my homestead honey. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out the greatest Pyrenees, Milk Boy, which makes her happy. We'll see you next time from Perma Pastures Farm.